Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Roota.com. It is Sunday, October 20th, as the world turns in our global financial system. Like my hat? Yes, this is my gardening hat. I like to pretend I'm Indiana Jones when I'm gardening. Got 20 beds ready, pretty big size beds. Getting ready for some winter planting and finishing off from the summer. I highly suggest you guys start figuring out where to get your food. That's how bad things are getting. Although, if you're a silver investor, I posted for the private road members the Power Behind Silver's breakout. Go check that out. It's discussing what's going on behind the scenes right now, where we could go, where we might go, what they have the power to do still. Very important post for you guys who want more than just what you can hear on the news or YouTube or anything like that. Go check it out at the private road at roadtoroota.com. I also posted the Jenny Moonstone discussion, election interruption, secret silver agreements, and the reanalysis of the silver remote viewing. Go check that out. If you're into silver, obviously, this is the place to be. Now, let's get to some juicy stuff. It is a Sunday. Announced last Friday, and it didn't really make the news except for local news. First National Bank of Lindsay closes. This is the first banking collapse closure we've seen in quite a while. Since, we had a whole bunch go off. The FDIC, this is a trial balloon of how it will be dealt with. And it's really interesting what the FDIC has said about this, because it is exactly what they are going to do. Let's see here. Let's go down. Friday, the First National Bank of Lindsay was closed by the Office of Comptroller of Currency, the OCC, with the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation appointed as a receiver. Remember, you, as an individual, have $250,000 of insurance on your money in any bank, in a single bank. If you have two different banks, it's per bank. And if you have beneficiaries, it gets a little squirrely, but you can get it to a couple $1 million if you have enough beneficiaries. But you got to do it right. I've talked about this quite a bit. But if you have over $250,000 in a single bank, you are nuts. You will lose badly, very badly. When all these banks start collapsing. Anyway, Friday, the First National Bank of Lindsay was closed. The OCC acted after identifying false and deceptive bank records and other information suggesting fraud that revealed depletion of the bank's capital. Every bank is like that, by the way. The OCC also found that the bank was in an unsafe or unsound condition to transact business, and the bank assets were less than its obligations to its creditors and others. They've referred it to the Department of Justice to protect depositors. Now, this is the stuff you got to listen to. To protect depositors, the FDIC has entered into a purchase and assumption agreement with First Bank Trust Co., based in Duncan, Oklahoma, which will assume the insured deposits of the failed banks. So the good stuff of the bank is going to the FDIC. The sole office of the First National Bank of Lindsay will reopen as a branch of First Bank and Trust Co. during its normal business hours on Monday. I guess that's a new company they're invented. I don't know. All depositors of the closed bank will automatically become depositors of First Bank and Trust Co., and their insured depositors will continue to be covered by the FDIC insurance. Okay. Customers are not required to change their banking relationship to maintain deposit insurance coverage. I don't think they should be saying that, because if it's over $250, you're going to have to change. You try to change. You're probably too late. Over the weekend, customers will still have access to their insured deposits, not their uninsured deposits, via checks, ATMs, debit cards, check withdrawal, all that stuff. For uninsured depositors, and this is the trial balloon. For uninsured deposits, the FDIC has announced it will make 50% of those funds available to depositors starting on Monday, October 21st, 2024, with the possibility of increasing that amount of assets from the failed as the assets from the failed bank are sold. So remember what happened with the Silicon Valley Bank and those big banks that failed, and Oprah was in, all the superstars are in it. They literally, the FDIC and the Fed declared that they're going to cover all uninsured deposits. So we got them. This is absolutely a trial balloon because they know that if they insure all uninsured depositors, the FDIC would run out of money almost instantly. I think they have 120 billion, and they insure maybe, was it 13, 14 trillion, not counting the derivatives. It's some crazy number that they can never. They only insure, they have the assets to insure about 2% of what they've committed to. But this is a trial balloon. So what they'll try to say, Bank of America goes down or JP Morgan, they'll say, okay, all the FDIC people, you're covered. They don't have the money to do that for the big banks, but they're going to say it. If you're over the amount, we're going to give you 50%. This is their reasoning. But the problem is they already bailed out 100% of people like Oprah and the big money people. So now they're saying 50%. It should be zero because everybody should know that the FDIC only has $250,000 of insurance on your deposits. Every time you walk up to a bank teller or go to an ATM, it says it right there. How do they get to decide who gets bailed out? And that's going to be a massive problem. Imagine if JP Morgan Chase had money in Bank of America. Bank of America goes down. JP Morgan Chase says, I want all the FDIC insured deposit. And the FDIC says, no, JP Morgan, you only get $250,000. Right? It's getting really crazy out there. So this is their plan. Their plan is to say, we're not going to do all of it. We'll give you 50% right now, and then we'll sell off the assets and see how much we get, and maybe you'll get some. How'd that go for all the crypto people in Mt. Gox? Ridiculous. Anyway, that's the plan, so get ready for it. I mean, it's not a coincidence that's happening now. As silver's breaking out, remember, silver's the bank killer. On the road to Roota theory, absolutely, silver's the one asset that destroys the banking cabal. No, they don't say it in the Road to Roota comic books, but they do say it in certain movies that I've looked at. Obviously, we have the Wizard of Oz books. It's all a monetary allegory. And in the latest Wizard of Oz movies, if you look at them, it is silver from the wand, the good witch's wand, that kills the criminal wicked witch of the West. East, West, North, South, I don't know. I think it's Wicked Witch of the West. Wicked Witch of the East. I don't know. One of the Wicked Witches. But yeah, if you've been on the road to long enough, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so let's see how much this will cost the FDIC. As of June 30th, 2024, the First National Bank of Lindsay reported total assets of $107.8 million and total deposits of $97.5 million. Why is that a problem, you ask? Because the total asset number is a lie. About $7.1 million in deposits exceeded insurance limits. So there's a number for you. So 7.1 million of the 108 million. So that's 7%, 6%. Yeah, it's about 6%. You take that over like JP Morgan. What do they have? 3 trillion in deposits, and 6% of that. Yeah, you see the problem. But it's shocking to me that people hold more than $250,000 in a bank. Well, at Bix, I have a business. It doesn't matter. You won't get that money back. You better get 10 banks. If you have a lot of money in the bank, get 10 banks, or play the game with the beneficiaries. If you have 10 beneficiaries, that's $250,000 each. So you have $2.5 million insurance. And if your bank hems and haws about doing that, say, hey, this is the law. You can go in and get a whole bunch of beneficiaries and then get in writing of your beneficiaries, because they'll take them away when you're not looking. That's how this criminal banking system works. And by the way, you shouldn't have any money in the banks at this time anyway. So physical silver in your own possession. You know I've been screaming about it lately. We're running out of time to get it. It's going to go to unobtainium. There's going to be no silver available for probably 6 months or so. as the price goes to nobody knows where, because the comics will be shut down, which is the only place the whole world looks at for price, which is crazy. It's a futures and options exchange. So we have, let's see, how much is it going to cost them? First Bank of Trust has agreed to assume the insured deposits at a premium of 6.67% and will purchase around $20 million of the First National Bank, Lindsay's assets. So of the, 97 million, only 20 million are good. That's crazy. FDIC will retain the remaining assets for future disposition. It'll be interesting. We'll see what happens. Preliminary cost of the bank's failure to the FDIC is an estimated $43 million. Final cost may fluctuate. $43 million. On a $100 million bank, they're going to lose $43 million. Whew, that's ugly. And remember, the FDIC has, I haven't looked at it, like 120 billion, something like that. I don't know. Not enough. That's all I know. So, yeah, I think this is a trial balloon to see how the world reacts. They take a little small bank, say there's 5,000 banks that need to be shut down. This is an insignificant bank, but they're trying to set precedents by saying, okay, for smaller banks, we are going to give you full FDIC insurance plus 50% of your uninsured deposits. And they're going to try to play that out as the bigger banks collapse. Good luck with that. I think it's all bullshit. Interesting, the world's $100 trillion fiscal time bomb keeps ticking. Even before the global finance chiefs fly to Washington over the next few days, they've been urged in advance by the IMF to tighten their belts. No country has ever paid off their debt. So tighten their belts, it's over. Nobody's going to tighten their belt. Everybody's going to print to kingdom come. And just imagine how much U.S. dollars are printed and you're not told about it. Yes, trillions of dollars behind the scenes that the U.S. creates out of thin air and plays their games behind the scenes. Trillions that we don't even know about. Because they know at the end of the game, you pull the plug. So IMF's Fiscal Monitor on Wednesday will feature a warning that public debt levels, public and private debt, public debt levels are set to reach on 100 trillion this year, driven by China and the U.S., the strongest nations in the world, right? Managing Director Kristina Jovinia, in a speech on Thursday, stressed how that mountain of borrowing is weighing on the world. Our forecasts point to an unforgiving combination of low growth and high debt, a difficult future, she said. Governments must work to reduce debt and rebuild buffers for the next shock, which will surely come and maybe sooner than we expect. What does it tell you? IMF's ready to take on all the debts because they get to? No. We're not going to be turning to the IMF after this bullshit. This is the end game. There will be no new system. There's no jerry-rigging the old system to make a new system. The United States has something on the books about gold and silver being money. Can do that. Clearly, the U.S. Mint is doing something with their time. They're not making silver eagles for the public. What are they doing with their time, you might ask? I think they're stockpiling. Just what it says on the back of the silver eagle, the newly designed silver eagle, has and this is the head of the mint. I forgot his name. Not Ventures Gibson, the current head. The ex-head of the U.S. Mint. Oh, man. U.S. Mint. What is... I keep forgetting... David Ryder said when he did the redesign, and I talked to the head of Silver Eagle sales, David Ryder said it is they're changing the back of the U.S. Eagle, which is unheard of. Nobody changes the back of their number one silver currency. That's the key to it. You got to keep it the same. But he's changing the back. It shows an eagle adding to the nest. An eagle adding, he kept saying that, an eagle adding to the nest. Meaning they're making silver eagles and they're stockpiling them for a return to a gold silver standard. And if you don't believe me, we'll find out who's right. If you think it's going to be XRP, good luck with that. If you think it's going to be, the Nesra or Jesra or or the Iraqi dinar. Good luck with that. It has failed time and time and time and time again. XRP is probably the most obvious con on the planet right now. No, they were never planning they were never planning to use XRP to replace Swift. Swift already announced, hey, we're going to go to blockchain. Boom, it's already replaced. It makes me so angry that so many of the XRP people have been spewing this crap. And meanwhile, XRP, Ripple, is selling as much of it as they possibly can. They've sold like $35, $40 billion worth of junk. Hey, you live and you learn, right? Good luck out there to everybody. This is going to be a quick one. I do want to remind you guys that all this sprang from the Road to Roota documents that came from the Federal Reserve Bank. The Federal Reserve Bank of Boston released a revised comic book in 2007 that I was on the website at the time, and it talked about going back to a gold standard. Comic book's called Wishes and Rainbows, and came with this teacher's guide, The Road to Roota. And when you read through this, there's about, I think it was 60 or 80 unanswered questions, because nobody knows are they going to nationalize? Yes or no? Who knows? Look at all the questions that come up. Why is Pebbleton's traditional distribution structure abandoned in the case of the colored flowers? The usual nature of a new resource, along with overwhelming disproportion between supply and demand, create a politically sensitive situation. One of the best lines is this one. Where is it? Look at all these questions. Will the town scientists and engineers start investing their time and energy to develop substitutes, making substitutes for silver and gold? This is mainly about gold. Where is it? Where's that best line ever? Come on. What important resources? So many questions, and they're all unanswered, and they're all about going back to a gold and silver standard, potentially. Oh, this is it. The fact that Pebbleton is the United States of America. The fact that the United States of America will never be the same following the introduction of gold and silver as money, basically gold as money, because we have a lot of gold. The appearance of the colored flowers seems clear. On the basis of what we know about economics and the way societies tend to react to the scarcity of important resources, is it possible to predict what changes are going to occur? For one thing, is it possible that Roota's rationing system will have to be modified or cease to work? Roota's rationing system is how the United States will ration out gold and silver to the population. Roota, a.k.a. Alan Greenspan, was working on this back in the early 70s, this very thing we're about to go through. And his idea was use the Social Security system, because you have people who have worked their whole lives have larger Social Security accounts than people who are just starting out. So give everybody a base amount of gold, whatever it is, whatever we have. We don't know how much they have. I think it's millions of tons, not the 200,000 tons that Jeffrey Christian will tell you. But give everybody a base amount, and then give people their Social Security payments in gold. Remember, the old system was kaput, gone. There's no more U.S. dollar, and we're on to a gold and silver standard. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of question around what will work. And Greenspan's idea was, let's use Social Security. It's fair because it's given people, for the most part. Now, there are certain industries that don't pay into Social Security. That's why there's the base. But also, I think it's the railroads have a different kind of Social Security. But it all need to be worked out. And that's the problem. And even Roota says it in this thing. I've listed everyone from the oldest person in the United States to the youngest person in the United States, and we're going to distribute the gold according to how much they've paid into the systems so far. And then even in this, they said, what if the people don't agree to it? There's going to be a lot of disagreement about everything, especially about government, how this could happen. The Fed will be destroyed most likely, back to the U.S. government, back to the Treasury. The whole Treasury Department will be expunged of the criminals, and we go back to taking care of ourselves. Clearly, globalization will end. Trade with other nations will end. And that's even in here. When they talk about the clutter flowers, and when are we going to start trading again? Where's some of that? Will Pebble in the United States start to export gold to the nearby communities such as Mexico and Canada? That means trade has stopped. But will any country, if they're using gold and silver as money, let the money go out of their country? Is that might be one of the problems that how we got in this place, into this situation in the first place. We gave China our manufacturing capacity. Well, we're not going to be trading with China anymore for a while, or anybody for that matter. Lots going on. Anyway, that's what I got for you. You want to learn more about this, go to roadtoroota.com. Click on subscribe today, and you can get access to all the behind-the-scenes info. And for every subscription, we're currently giving away 10 Theta, 100 Theta fuel, and 1,000 T-drop. Load it on a paper wallet, stick it in your safe at home with your silver, and don't think about it for the next couple of years. And all of a sudden, oh my God, this thing Theta is like the World Wide Web. It's so big. It's downloaded on every Android device on the planet because it's a software download that they can do it like that and save the system. Anyway, go check it out, roadtoroota.com. This is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you later.